All right, I hope you took a little break here. We're going to do this one next. A little less detail. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to go to W so I can see what it looks like. I've got my 3 column. We're going to be dividing this in half. So if I use the X tool, right, my shape tool, rectangle, and bring it all the way to the red marks, I can bring it over and center it right to the center. Because remember, these marks here will are the center of the pages. So that's my center, and I'm going to put 2 images in here. I'm going to grab another one. I'm going to drag it all the way to the bleeds. So I have 2 rectangles that go all the way to the bleed. We're going to add 2 different images, and then we're going to add a few bars on the bottom and the top, and then a circular rectangle with a copy in. So the first thing, let's grab some images. I'm going to do one that's like these red poppy fields, and then one that's the ocean. Because you can have multiple summertime experiences. It doesn't have to be the same one. So I go back to File and Place, which is also Command D. And I'm going to assume that this one is the poppy, but remember, you should just hit the space bar and it'll pop up the image. Alright, so that's the one we want. I'm going to open up that one. And then we're going to click on the other side and go, I'm going to move this over a little. Go to the other side, go to File, Place. So now you can see that again if you were having trouble finding that, which is also Command D. And we're going to place the water one, which again, space bar, and I can see what it looks like. All right, so the one thing I do want to do, let's look back at my original. There's the original. We have this vista that we want to line up. So we want to do that. So let's see if we can get that to line up correctly. I'll bring that back. Remember, we're going to have to select these images. So I would use Option, magnifying glass to get it further out, and to get it into the center of the page. And then I go back to the direct tool, the circle comes up, and if I hold it down, I can see where that image is. And from that example I had, we're more like here. But we've got to reduce this by a lot. So instead of just kind of dragging it, we could just reduce this to, let's say, 50 just to start. And because these are linked, again, they'll link together. All right, we're getting closer. It did select the whole frame. That's okay. We know where our center part is. So let's see where we're at now if we brought it back out. So I can make sure I'm still in the direct tool, the arrow's there, bring it back to the center. That's not bad. I almost like it better. So we made that 50 and we lined it up. Let's see what this one looks like. So we can either adjust it more, get more people and water in it. So I've changed it a little. Be careful that you're not grabbing the box, the frame, that you're grabbing the image. I'm just trying to get the vistas to kind of line up a little more. And we have so much of this image that I think it was nice to get more water in. Because they're both like these abstract feelings, like the water in the summertime, or are we looking at like being in a field of flowers? All right, so we can just keep playing around with this a little bit more. So I grabbed it thinking I had the center image, but I didn't. I am going to reduce the size. So remember, it's going to take the frame. So let's make this, I don't think it needs to be the full 50, but let's make it like 80%. Make sure it happens on both. And then expand your frame out to the edges. So that's one way of scaling. And then I'm grabbing again that circle. And I'm going to try to line it up. It's a little more water vista. It's tricky. You gotta make sure you have the image. I think we're getting there. I just kind of want it to feel like it's part of the other one. Alright, it's a little bit different of a look, but the idea is the same. I wanted this feel that you could see the vista on either or. I wanted it to be more about water and a field than people on the beach. If you wanted to, you could see how much more of the image is available, and if you wanted to make it smaller, you can make it smaller or larger. So at this point, I might just do Option and go back and see how much more image I have. So maybe I do want to grab more image. And if I do, I think we should make this 50 also. Maybe if you're grabbing the image, we can change just the image and not the box. Cool. So if I have the image selected, so see how I did that? I actually see the teal line of the image. If that is selected, then I can change it without changing the frame. See how the frame is still connected? And this might be more of what we want, just this wave of water. Okay, so we're closer to that. Just make sure our images don't have a white line between it, so I might want to get closer with my magnifying glass. And then again, check that it is all the way around on the bleed. Okay, good. So that's done. The next is to add these lines. So we have 3 lines on top and 3 lines on bottom. So I will take my shape tool and just going to line it up on the margin. And let's do 6 height is what I have here. So if we look up here, we can just make this 8 because we don't need it that long. Or actually even better, we can make it 7.25. Make sure you write the numbers correctly. Actually 7.5. And we make sure it's right on the margin. And the only other thing we need to do is change the color. We're doing yellow. And we want to flip it so that it is not an outline, but a fill. And then we have our first one. And the next thing I would do is Option. See how I'm getting my double arrows there? And then drag, and then Option, drag again. And then go and just double check that they look equal. And since you've got those done, you can select both, but unselect the image behind it so that you're not dragging a copy of the image. And then do Option. See the 2 arrows again? And I can bring my lines back on the other margin on the bottom. So margins on the top, margin on the bottom with lines. Okay, one more step we have to do for this video, which is add the square base with the type. I'm going to go to my rectangle because it's just going to be a filled color. And I'm going to start from this column all the way to the other column. I'm going to change it to the color that I need. I started with the stroke because I want to make sure that blue wasn't there. And then I want to use the arrow to redirect it to the fill. Alright, so the next thing is we need to get these into curved corners. So if you go under Object, you can see that you have corner options. So let's select that. And all we're going to do is let's keep the standard, but let's change it to this round. If you want, you can change it to something more, but just make sure that they're all the same. So if you did 2, you could do 2. But make sure every single one of them are the same. You can see that preview will show you before you finish. All right, hit OK. We're almost done with this. Let's get this a little more centered. And then all we need to do is add the copy, which we could grab from here, because I like to just copy paste. So this is behind. Remember that we put it on the layer, and we now need to bring this into front, because this is above the other layer. Our type was on this one behind our frames. On this one, our type is above. So you might have to do one up if you wanted to and write type. You can keep them all on one layer if you would like also. It just does make it easier when you're trying to select them without an issue. We're going to use that same blue. Because sometimes if there's something below or above, either you don't see it or you might grab the wrong square. It might be hard to get to what you want. Anyways, so I have this at a lot larger than I have, so I want to change this to all at 18. My new got a little funky. I'm going to change that to 12. Maybe 11. And let's see if that fits if all I do is change it, the size. So I would say let's grab it again. We have 18. This was 18, remember? And this was, make it 10 actually. And then I want this whole line to be a little bit up a little bit. I want it closer to the summertime. So make sure you really have that whole line. And then we had it at 18, so let's look at 24. Maybe it needs to be 18. I like it a little tight. I think that's a little bit better. So again, summertime is 18 by 21.6. That's that auto. But then we change the bottom, which is the in is 10. Everything's still italic. And New Jersey is 1818. It's a little bit tighter to the summertime. This whole line is 18. See how it disappears when we look at the size of it, because the size is different on either or. Alright, and let's make sure we keep our text boxes cleaner. So let's grab it and make it really tight to the image. And that should be what you did. So again, slow down and just take time in building this. We made two boxes, right? And there's two different images. We divide the card in half. We added lines. And then we copied and pasted the lines to the bottom. And then we added another rectangle. This is what I mean. It sometimes can get hard. See how I was having a hard time grabbing that rectangle? We made another rectangle and we went up to Object and we created corner options. Pause, go back, slowly look at this stuff so you get it. There's a lot of components in this. InDesign does a lot of different things, and I really want to get you understanding of some of these great options you have. All right, take another pause, a little break. We're on our last card.